Hi guys, welcome back to B's Speed Shop. So in today's video I'm going to be making my repair piece for the cross support in the floor. So what I've done is I've cut out a strip of metal. It's just over 1 inch wide, so I can then, once I've got it shaped, I can then cut it down to size and trim it to fit in. So I'll show you how I've got it set up in the vise. So I've got my strip of metal, it's just G-clamped to my box section, and then what I'm going to do is slowly hammer it over this edge so it follows the same radius as the box tube, because that has the same radius as the actual cross member in the car. So I've got it G-clamped at both ends, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus on a small section at a time which is in the vise. So I'm going to tap this a little bit just to get it started, then I'll move it along, tap the next bit, move it along, tap the next bit, all the way along. So I've got it's my granddad's, but it's a proper metal hammer for shaping metal, and he's got a box of different shaped dollies as well. But obviously I don't need the dolly for now, I just need the hammer so I can hammer it over this edge and create the same radius. So this is my little repair section I've made. So you can see I hammered it over the box tubing to get that radius. So what I'm going to do now is, so my plan is to cut about here somewhere, cut that length out all the way down to about here, and I'll cut it out there and there. And then what I'll do is I'll file the edge of this so it fits in there, and I can put a few tacks on. What I'll do is I'll clean up all this area, and I've got some weldable primer. So what I'll do is I'll cut this section out, clean it up, put some of the weldable primer on that, and the same with this piece, just so once it is welded in I won't be able to get to the back side to paint it, so it should give it some protection. So I'll get on and cut this piece out. So I've got this section cut out from the support piece now. So as I cut this edge, and then I ground this edge square, because obviously my cut was a little bit off, and then I ground back all the paint so I've got a clean surface to weld to. And for my little section that I'm going to weld in, I just sprayed it with some weldable primer. So what I'm going to do is I'll get it so it's in that top edge, just there somewhere. I'll put a tack on there, and then every couple of inches I'll put another tack all the way along that edge. So I've got this little replacement piece tacked in now. So what I did is I started off just doing one tack there, then I moved down to here, and what I did is I just checked it with my finger each time just to make sure it was flush. What I had to do just here, because it was binding, one trick you can do is if you come in at about 45 degrees with a cut-off wheel, you sort of, how can I explain it? Obviously this piece, it would have an angle that way, and obviously this piece would have a matching angle, so it would fit together a lot better. I couldn't quite get in there at 45 degrees, but it's better than it was. It's not binding. There is a little bit of a gap, but I can come back and weld that in. So yeah, pretty happy with the progress. I'm just going to let this cool off now because I have done, so I started off doing one tack all the way down, and then I came back and did a couple of extra ones. So what I'll do is I'll just let this cool off for a little bit, and then I'll come back and I'll do a couple more. So I'll do one there, one there, one there, and then once I reach the bottom, I'll come back up to the ones I missed and do another one, and just keep doing that until it's all basically got a load of tack welds just along, all the way along, and then obviously you can just grind it back. So what I'll do is I'll use the grinding wheel just to take the very tops of these spot welds off, and then I'll come back in with like a sanding disc or a flap wheel just to clean it up, make it look nice. So one trick you can do is if you have an airline, you can like do your tack and then cool it off with the airline. I don't have access to an airline at the moment, so I've just done a couple, and then I'll just leave it to cool for a bit. Obviously I'll come back with a wire brush and clean up some of this soot, so I've got a nice clean surface to weld on. But I'm pretty happy with my progress, so I'm not too fussed if I don't get all of this cleaned up today, as long as I can get a few more welds in there. But I mean, it's pretty strong as it is, it's not going anywhere, it doesn't bend or anything. So obviously once I've got that piece in, I can then measure up the floor. Obviously it's got to go inside this edge and butt up against this. So I've cleaned this edge off. That's a nice square edge now that I've done. So what I'll try and do is hold the panel up in its position on the outside of this piece, and then from the inside I should be able to scribe a line along this edge, and then I can cut that off, cut it to fit up here, and then hopefully I can get that one welded in. Then obviously I've still got my little patch piece I need to make to go in there, but I'll try and get the floor in and then do this one because it's on the outside. I've got my little repair piece all welded in now, so I've just done like a load of tack welds all the way down. So what I'll do is there's probably going to be a few tiny little pinholes, a few little gaps maybe where they join up. Like I imagine there's probably going to be one just there somewhere. So what I'll do is I'll quickly take the tops off of these with a grinding wheel, and then I can put a sanding disc on and just very carefully do a little bit at a time, because obviously I don't want to be putting too much heat back into this and distort it with the sanding. So I'll give it a little clean up, and then if there's any little gaps where my welds have joined up, then I can just come back and do put another little tack weld in between them just to join them up. So I'll give it a clean up and see what it looks like. So I've just gone over my welds with the so this section here is what I did with the grinding wheel. I did the whole thing, but this is the section where I just used the grinding wheel just to take those tops off, and then this section up here I went over it with the flap disc just to sort of smooth it out, take it down a bit more, which I'm pretty happy with it. It looks pretty good. So like I said, where my welds joined up, I don't know if you'll be able to see, little pinhole just there, and between those two welds there. Just trying to think where else. That's the only one I can see at the moment. So just here, there's a little bit of a hole, and just there where my welds joined up. So obviously when I can grind this down a little bit more, and then I can put another tack weld in there and in there, just so it's fully welded. And then what I can do is come back along this bit with the old flap disc to clean it up like this bit. So obviously it's not perfectly flat, there's still a little bit of a edge on the weld, but I was just trying to be careful not to take off too much because I don't want to dig into either side of the metal or put too much heat in it and warp it then. So, feels pretty good though, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to be leaving this video here for today. So I'm super happy with my progress with my welding, and I've got that piece in. I think that was a good piece to start on. It was a fairly small piece, so I could concentrate on getting the welds just right. Obviously when I get it ground back and sanded a bit more and it's all painted, it's going to be under the seat anyway, so no one's going to see it. But it was a good piece to start on. Obviously I got the repair pieces I need to do for the other side of the centre support on the driver's side. So hopefully next weekend I'll be able to get the actual floor pan at least, so I can put it up, mark it, cut it where it needs to be cut, and at least get it tacked in, so then I can make my other repair pieces for the inner front wing. So thanks for watching this video.